On today's episode of Warehouse Safety Tips, we're going to be going over the last S of the 5S methodology, essentially the secret S, safety. So stay tuned.
Welcome to Warehouse Safety Tips. If you're a seasoned vodcast viewer, this vodcast is going to be different from most that you watch. It's based around exactly what the name implies, Warehouse Safety Tips. And since the people in this industry are busy, we know that time is money, so each episode will be as short and to the point as possible. And now, with all that out of the way, let's get to the vodcast.
Hey, we have finally made it to the last portion of the 5S methodology. Now, we've done a very high-level outlook at all the 5S methodology, and we've done it without including the last secret S, and that is safety. Now, some people even call it the 6S methodology, where safety is that sixth S. But I'm going to tell you why we don't consider that to be the case. And first, I want to go through and kind of do a wrap-up covered. We started off with the origins of 5S. We then moved to the first S, which is sort. That is going to be going through your area and your facility and making sure that you determine what is essential and what is non-essential. The next S, the second S, is going to be straighten, also known as setting in order. That is going to be determining the things that are essential and then making sure that they are accessible and in order of need. So the most important people or the most important functions get those essential items first. The third S of the 5S methodology is going to be shine. Now, it goes way beyond cleaning. It's also observing and reporting things, such as maybe a leak or a sound or something that just isn't right, and reporting that to maintenance or the powers that be. The fourth S is going to be going through and standardizing, and that is essentially just lining up those first three S's and making sure that they are running in the most efficient and accessible way possible. Now, the last S of the 5S methodology is something that is known as sustaining. Sustaining is basically constant and never-ending improvement on those first four S's and making sure that you're going through and not only doing it always, but also making sure that you are doing it in a way that looks for constant improvements to where you're always making things better. Now, we just recently had a what is called a Partners in Safety webinar or podcast with Blaine J. Hoffman from the Safety Pro podcast. He went into the steps that make sure that you are going through and sustaining properly. So make sure that you check that out. That's going to be on an upcoming episode of Warehouse Safety Tips and the what we're calling the inaugural episode of that Partners in Safety. And we also had a sit down with the vice president of one of our sponsors, which is Mighty Line Tape, and Joe went through and shared all sorts of great stuff with us, and that's going to be coming up as well. So make sure that you implement the 5S methodology. Make sure that you always have safety, which is what we're talking about today, integrated into that. And the reason that we don't call it the 6S methodology and we make sure that safety is always at the foundation of each one of those steps, if you do that, it is absolutely paramount, because safety begins when you wake up in the morning and it doesn't stop until you put your head down at night. So every single one of those steps is always going to have safety interwoven within it, and that's exactly why we didn't call it its own S, because it really is the foundation of all five of those S's. And as you guys know, safety is what the name of the game is here at Warehouse Safety Tips. So guys, until you meet with us next time, we thank you for being part of another Warehouse Safety Tips. Make sure that you're safe, and here's a word from one of our sponsors.
It's scientifically unexplainable. It's virtually indestructible. And it's taking over the entire planet. But in a really good way. It's Mighty Line Floor Tape, the most durable floor tape in the world. 7 times thicker than average floor tape. beveled to endure pounding warehouse traffic, and backed with a super strong peel and stick adhesive, so you'll never have to worry about painting shop floors again. Mighty Line Floor Tape, the only durable stripe.